Welcome back to another episode. Oh, come on. Welcome back to another episode of Too Much Pod Tar. And today is April 1st. And not going to be making any April Fool's jokes because it's been the whole year has pretty much been an April Fool's with all the shit that's going on. But to try to brighten everyone's day, we're going to be looking back again in history, baseball history, as we've been doing over the last few days. And now in this one, I have Johnny Black on for another episode. Hasn't been on in a while, but he's back again. So welcome back.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, long time no speak.
Yeah.
It seems like I was on like every day for a while there.
Oh yeah. And then it was like right when like we had no season, all of a sudden like it was like hard to even get any episodes out.
Yeah, there was really nothing going on. I mean, we ran down all the team previews and everything like that, and now it just was stuck in a limbo now.
Yeah, so that's why I came up with this idea to do these episodes, try to get at least some content out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the what if stuff has been great.
Yeah,
I've been running up. Got to start working on the final part of my articles. If the 1994 strike never happened, I did the AL, I did the NL. Now I'm just going to work on like the World Series and like the implications of it, like afterwards, like into 95, because they lost about 18 games in 95. And then like the implications of, the Expos losing their season and, everything that happened after that. So
all right.
do some of my research. I should have that out this weekend.
Cool. Yeah, I got to start on my Babe Ruth one. I haven't done any research on that yet. I don't even know how I'm going to start it, like how I'm going to go about it, really. It's going to be hard.
It's just, yeah, it's so hard, man. When I started the AL one, I was just going to do one article. Then I started the AL one, and I was looking back. Of course, I went in a rabbit hole because I remember it. I mean, I was 21 years old at the time, so I remember it vividly. But just looking at Baseball Reference, Fangraph, like all different sites that doing my research, I just started going down the rabbit holes of like looking at people. It's like, wow, I haven't heard this guy's name in ages, and just going back to like how crazy the season was at that point when they stopped on August 11th. It was like, so then when I started writing it, I figured, let me write the AL side, the NL side. I was going to do it all in one article. And the AL side turned out to be like 2,000 words in itself. I was like, no, I can't, I'm not going to write an article that's like 7,000 words. So you got to break it up. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it came out good though. I read it, so it was pretty good. I read the first two. Yeah.
That's gone. George Brett has just homered, and Billy Martin and the Yankees want the bat. Look at Martin.
Well, what you're talking about, Frank, is that he's got too much
Pod Tar.
way too much pod tar.
Yeah, because Pete Alonso wasn't 20, right?
No, he's like 23.
Oh, yeah, he was 24 last year, so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I knew he's in his 20s already.
He's close. Yeah, because he was close to like the age Aaron Judge was when he made his debut.
Yeah.
Because Judge was 25, so. Yeah, but. Next thing I've written down here is 2006. Jose Contreras signed an extension with the White Sox for 3 years, $29 million. He was a big part of their 2005 World Series run. He went 11-2 down the stretch, and they won their first World Series since 1917. And then he made the All-Star team again in 2006. With that year, he signed the extension. So he was 34 though, so he didn't do it. He wasn't as effective the last few years there. But.
Yeah, it didn't sound. Yeah, he was really good when he got there from the Yankees. The Yankees traded him in 2004, and then his full season in 2005 was pretty good. 15-7, 3.61 through 200 innings.
Yeah.
And they gave him the extension in 2006, and he was meh.
Yeah, it wasn't anything special.
Yeah, he was kind of a one-hit wonder at that point. It's honestly 2005 was his best season.
Yeah. Yeah, because then after that he went to the Rockies in 2009. He only appeared in 7 games that year. Oh, actually, no, he was never mind. He was with the White Sox in 2009, but then went over to the Rockies, and then he played 3 years with the Phillies, and then retired with the Pirates in 2013. But he only appeared in 7 games that year. So.
Yeah, and it's funny. The Yankees traded him in 2004 along with cash for Esteban Loaiza, drug cartel king.
Yeah.
Remember that story from a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think I
remember. Like he's like a drug cartel like guy. Like
yeah,
I don't know. That's crazy.
That's insane. Yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
And back in 2002, the Mets, they won 6-2 on opening day, and their opening day record became 26-15, which was would end up being a major league record. And they didn't win their first season opener until their 9th year of their franchise existence. So it's pretty interesting that they ended up having the major league record for opening day record after not winning one until the 9th season.
Yeah. To figure 8 years of losses. So they went 26-7 on opening day, 33 years in a row. That's crazy. And that have they been the past few years? Because I know they tend to start off well.
Yeah.
And then, reality sets in.
Yeah. That's what me and Nick were talking about too on a couple of these episodes. Like with the shortened season, are they gonna, start off good, or is it because they're farther into it? Like it's already in the middle of what it would have been the middle of the season. Like are they gonna just be bad from the start?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's gonna be a weird season. I mean, however many games if they play.
Yeah.
Play 100 games, or I don't, who even knows at this point?
I think if they do play it all, it's going to be like no fans the whole season or something, or maybe not the whole season, but like we won't have any fans until like the playoffs or something.
It's crazy. I wonder if there are going to be like asterisks next to like numbers. Like what if someone, what if they start in June, they play 100 games? What if someone hits 400?
All right.
Is that going to be considered a 400? I mean, I'm assuming if they play most of the season, as in more than half, that it would be considered. But I mean, how are people going to look at it? If someone hits 400 in 100 games, they'll be like, wow, 62 loss. So, I mean, who knows if this guy would have hit 400, if, blah, 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 blah. But, I guess that's up to just people's perception.
Right.
At that point, if something like that does happen. I honestly don't really see anyone in the major leagues hitting 400 anymore, but
no.
The game's just changed. But you never know.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see how it goes. I think at this point it's gonna. I think the most games they're not gonna end up playing is like 100, maybe 120. But I don't know. That's even like a little hopeful too.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I wonder not only when they start, but how they're going to structure the season. Because of all the talk about, double headers every week, and then pushing the season into October and doing the playoffs in November, and who knows at this point when they start or how they structure the season, depending on when they start. We don't know how many games. I'm hopeful. What I'm hoping for, and this may be optimistic, but I'm hoping for a Memorial Day weekend opening day, like that weekend, that Friday, opening day of baseball. I think it's May 22nd this year. And they open that weekend. Every team plays like one doubleheader a week, and they extend the season into the middle of October. and then play the playoffs through November, and then the World Series is Thanksgiving week. I think they could get in 120 games, 130 games at that point.
Yeah.
But who knows? That's my structure of it. But who knows what's going to happen? I mean, I think everything's kind of in limbo for the month of April, and then they're going to reevaluate it at the end of April, because I mean, everything's basically shut down until the beginning of May. So I mean, nothing's happening before May 1st.
No.
So April's lost easily, and possibly May. But like I said, I'm trying to be optimistic, and I think if they can, even in the beginning, if they open up with empty stadiums, I think they should try to do it for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean the thing yesterday from the Toronto, they said that it didn't include sporting events, so they can still end up playing games without fans for that too, like.
Right.
Because if that doesn't include that, so.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I think if this thing, they talk about flattening the curve and everything like that. I think they're looking at, from what I saw yesterday, they're looking at the major spike being from, say, April 7th to April 15th. It's going to be the major spike. And then it's going to start going down. Now, if we allow it to go down for another month until, say, May 15th or May 10th or whatever Mother's Day is, right? The second Sunday in May. So whatever that falls on. I think it's the 10th or something like that. If we allow the curve to go down for a month, I think by Mother's Day, they're going to have a much better view of it. And I think that as long as, if they want to go like a week or two without fans, but still play the games, I think each team has a skeleton crew as far as broadcasting and stuff like that goes still. And you just test every player, say a week before opening day, and then on opening day, like that morning, you test every player before they even get to the ballpark. If no one's got the virus, then we play without fans for a week or so until it dies out even more. And then maybe by mid-June, fans can start coming back. But I think they conceivably could start the season Memorial Day weekend, even without fans for a few weeks.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Going back.
I think if all the ball players and coaches and camera crew and even like announcers and stuff, I think if they're all cleared and tested, yes, they're in close quarters and in dugouts and stuff, but if they're all tested and negative, I don't see a reason why they can't play.
No.
Like I said, the fans are a different story. You got 50,000 people in the stadium. That's different. You can't possibly test every single person, first of all. And then, God forbid you testing 50,000 people, one or two tests are wrong. I understand that could happen with the players themselves and stuff like that and the crew, but I mean, it's more likely that you're going to get one or two wrong tests when you're testing 50,000 people. And how is that logistically possible anyway? So,
Right. Yeah, this whole thing is just, ugh.
it's insane.
Jumping back into this day, the 2001 was the first game that they played in Puerto Rico. It was Blue Jays and Rangers. A-Rod made his Rangers debut, and he got the first hit of the season. And then Pudge Rodriguez got a pretty big ovation from the crowd.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a big game there. And now they play there. They go to Puerto Rico to play. So I think almost every season now.
I think so. Yeah, I think there's a series every year now.
Yeah. Don't know if there's probably not going to be one this year though, with all this going on.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah, because they already canceled. I saw they canceled the London games, the London series.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that too. The travel is too risky.
Yeah.
Even though the London series, I believe, was in the middle of June.
Yeah.
It's still too risky at this point. They might as well cancel it now and just, scrap it for this year.
Right. In 1997, Padres set a record for the most runs scored in one inning for the 20th century. They scored 11 in the bottom in the sixth inning, and they won. What was it? 13. I think it was 13-2 or something.
Yeesh.
Oh, 12-5. They won over the Mets. And they Chris Gomez, Ricky Anderson, and Julio Veras. I don't know if I said that right, but they had back-to-back.
Yeah. Kilvio Veras of all people hitting a home run. Man, like Gomez and Henderson, at least that's a pop, but Veras, like, that's weird.
The next big thing that happened on this day was back in 1989. The former Yale. Wait. It was a former Yale University, and then he was also the National League president. And Bart Giamatti became the seventh commissioner of the MLB.
Yeah, and he didn't reinstate Joe Jackson.
No.
And he was the one that gave Pete Rose the lifetime ban.
Yeah, that's right.
Like a week before he died. He was only in office for like 5 months. He died in September.
Yeah.
But he made his mark. And then Fay Vincent took over after that. But yeah. From Boston, actually.
Yeah, lifelong Red Sox fan.
Yeah. He wrote a book or something, I believe, about the Red Sox.
The green fields of the mind.
Something like, yeah.
It says it lamented the end of a season in Boston.
Yeah.
What's this video? There's a video on it. I don't even know what it is.
But Boyd, of course, is a Renaissance man, and that means
I
that
think it's
he's
just
also
a reading of the book. He's like it's like a whole video of the book. He just reads the book.
Oh, okay.
That's a long video though.
Yeah, let's skip that.
Like 30 minutes long or something. I don't know. And there was a couple trades here. In 1987, there was the Pirates traded Tony Pena, the Gold Glove catcher. And he traded to the Cardinals for Mike
LaValliere,
Mike Doon, and Andy Van Slyke. And they it says here that the Van Slyke thought that the deal was an April Fool's joke. And then he cried at the news conference when Jim Leyden announced the trade.
Yeah, what year was that?
87.
Wow. Well, Van Slyke, is interesting because Van Slyke went on to play in the World Series that year for the Cardinals.
Oh yeah.
They lost to the Twins.
Mm.
My mandatory Twins reference.
I was gonna say.
Van Slyke was a good player. He was an excellent fielder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was an excellent fielder in center field. Had some pop, could run. I mean, he was a good all-around player.
Yeah.
LaValliere wasn't bad either. He was a decent hitting catcher. He played pretty well. I think he lasted. He was good with the Pirates. I keep trying to remember him in St. Louis, but. And then Mike Dunn. Mike Dunn was supposed to be a really good pitcher, and it just never panned out. I don't think his career lasted too long, but he was supposed to be like a stud pitcher.
Mm.
It just didn't pan out for him. Looking him up right now, I could swear he was like a top draft pick.
Mm.
But yeah, he played 6 seasons in the major leagues. But he never, computer's acting up. Yeah, for 7th overall pick by the Cardinals in 1984.
Oh wow.
Out of Bradley University. Yeah, 1987 with the Pirates. He was 13-6 his rookie year. 13-6 with a 3.03 ERA. After that,
Wow.
done. 1992, he pitched 4 games for the White Sox, and then after that was finished. And one of those guys that just supposed to be a stud arm, and that was it. Just never made it.
Yeah, and then Tony Pena, he played for what, 18 years?
Yeah, Payne was around a long time. He was also the manager. I know he was the manager, I believe, of the Royals before Ned Yost got there.
Oh yeah, 2002 to 2005.
Yeah.
And he was I think he's still, I don't know, I think he's still the Yankees bench coach right now.
Yeah, he's been around a while. As
Yeah.
far as managing, coaching, and stuff. But yeah, he's been in baseball his whole life. Pena. I
Yeah.
always remember him. Throwing from his, because he used to sit down behind the plate to save his knees,
Yeah.
and he used to just throw people out, or pick people off at first base, from sitting down.
Oh,
The
yeah.
guy had a cannon for an arm.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah, he definitely had an interesting stance.
Yeah. He swung hard too.
Yeah.
He swung really hard. I remember, swings that would, his follow through, the bat would hit his helmet, crack his helmet, knock his helmet off. He was aggressive as far as the swing went.
Yeah. Damn.
He was behind the plate. There weren't many that were better defensively, especially as far as his arm went. It was an incredible arm.
Yeah.
We all know the best managers and coaches in baseball. They're all catchers
Oh
in
yeah.
general.
Yeah.
You see them everywhere.
Yeah. Then a trade in 1982, the Mets traded Lee Mazzilli to the Rangers for Ron Darling and Walt Terrell. And they actually, yeah. They didn't, the deal wasn't well received at first, but then it's kind of like a steal for the Mets.
Yeah, the Mets on that one.
Yeah, because they both combined for 118 wins over their tenure. Now, obviously, Darling is the Mets announcer now.
Yeah, I like Ron Darling.
Yeah, he's always one of my favorite announcers.
Yeah, he was a pretty good pitcher too.
Yeah.
Solid. And the funny thing is, there's a little trivia that goes along with Lee Mazzilli and stuff.
Mhm.
He was traded later that year to the Yankees for Bucky Dent.
Oh wow! Well,
And also Walt Terrell, Walt Terrell. He wound up on the Tigers in 1987. He gave up Mark McGwire's first career home run.
oh wow! That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I forget how he got to the Tigers, but I always remember seeing a video. It was in Tiger Stadium, and it was Mark McGwire's first home run.
That's crazy.
7. And Terrell wasn't a bad pitcher. He was decent. He was all right, solid, but through innings, 200 innings, 6 years in a row. He was a workhorse type guy, 4 ERA, not a lot of strikeouts, but definitely someone who'd be a solid, solid 3 or 4 right now.
Yeah.
Off the innings, but.
And here's an interesting one. 1970, the team that was in Seattle, the Seattle Pilots, they were ruled insolvent by Sidney Vollen. I don't even know how to say it. Sidney Vollen, but he was a federal bankruptcy referee, and he ordered them to be sold, and they they actually sold to Bud Selig,
Yeah.
the future commissioner, and then they had to be moved to Milwaukee and became the Brewers. So they only lasted one season in Seattle.
Yeah, 1 year. Selig owned the team all the way up until he became commissioner,
Mm,
I believe.
yeah. And still haven't won their first World Series yet.
Yeah, they only made it to 182
Yeah.
when they were in the American. Because don't forget, they were in the American League until 2013.
No, yeah.
They were in the AL East
Mm.
in the beginning, and
Yeah.
then they moved to the AL Central, I believe, when they configured for the wild card. I believe they were in the Central with Minnesota and Detroit, because it was funny because when it was the AL East and the AL West, Minnesota was actually in the West. Detroit was in the East. So go figure.
Mm.
But when they realigned with the three divisions for the wild card in 1994, they moved the Tigers, the Twins, the Brewers, the White Sox, and the Indians became the Central, which obviously graphically makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Brewers were in the East for a long time, and they made the World Series in 1982, and they lost to the Cardinals.
Mm.
It was actually a good series. I was back then. The Brewers, they were called Harvey's Wallbangers, like the drink, because the manager was Harvey Keene, and they were known for like their power and their hitting. They had Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, Gorman Thomas, who was like a 40 home run guy, Cecil Cooper. They had a lot of like power bats.
Wow.
They had a pretty good team, but yeah, that was the only World Series they ever made, and that was the Cardinals team was Whitey Herzog's, like just like run and steal and run all over the place.
Mm. Yeah, it was interesting. I just saw here that the Brewers they actually were the Milwaukee Brewers back in 1901, but then they relocated at the end of that season and became the St. Louis Browns, who are now the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's probably why in 1970 they took the Brewers name,
Yeah.
because it was actually a team back in the day. You know, that's what they were called.
Mm-hmm. And the year before that, when they were still the Seattle Pilots, they traded Lou Piniella to the Royals, and he ended up being the Rookie of the Year for the Royals that year.
Yeah, Piniella was a good player.
Yeah.
He was a good player. He could hit.
Mm-hmm.
Funny, I was just looking at the 1970 Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had Al Downing on their team. He's the one that gave up number 715 to Hank Aaron.
Oh wow.
Yep. When he was on Dodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron was actually in the Milwaukee Braves at that point. I believe they were in Milwaukee at that point. I don't know if they were in Atlanta. Yeah, so weird.
Yeah.
Back in history, there's like six, you could do 6 degrees of anything, and this is how we go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Mm. Here's a weird one. 1950, in the Pacific Coast League of the minor leagues, they won. The one team, Hollywood Stars, they wore shorts on opening day.
Wow. How do you slide?
That would hurt.
Yeah.
I think the Reds wore shorts one game last year, didn't they? For like a throwback uniform.
Did they?
I
Wow. It's like.
think they did. Or no, maybe. Oh, not shorts. There was actually tank tops. That's what they did.
Yeah, that I could see a little more. But I mean, sliding into a base with shorts on, go rip up your legs.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, I guess one game you can get away with it, but I can't imagine playing seasons like that.
Yeah. I don't know what else you had. I don't know if you had anything else written down, but I didn't really see. There's not really any other thing else that I had. But except 1914 was Rube Waddle. He died of tuberculosis at just 37 years old.
Yeah, actually, I did have him written down because I wanted to mention an interesting fact about him too. Rube Waddle set the modern day record for strikeouts in a season, 349 in 1904. That record actually stood for 61 years until Koufax broke it in 1965.
Damn.
And then Koufax's record was broken 8 years later by Nolan Ryan, 383 strikeouts in 1973, which still remains the record.
Wow.
So three pitchers have held the strikeout record since 1904.
Wow.
They talk about like the home run record, how it like progressed. Babe Ruth had it for all those years, and then Maris broke it, and then it took all those years for McGuire to break it, and stuff, and then Bonds broke it a few years. But the strikeout record, even more so.
Yeah.
116 years now. There have only been three pitchers that have held the record. So that was kind of interesting,
That's crazy.
That's a lot of strikeouts, 349.
Oh,
even though that year I think Rube Waddle threw like 380 innings, but still, it's still back then guys didn't strike out people the way they do now, obviously.
No.
If you struck out 7 per 9, you were like a strikeout pitcher.
Yeah.
Back in the early 1900s. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
There were two more that I just wanted to mention that I had written down anyway. 1996, John McSherry, the umpire, after just calling 7 pitches, collapsed and died of a heart attack.
Oh, jeez.
In Cincinnati. I remember that game. He collapsed like on the field, and they took him away, and died of a heart attack. I think he was 51 years old.
Wow.
And the Umpires Association put in a new rule, basically, not a rule, but was more conscious of having these umpires be in shape, at least be healthier and stuff like that. I mean, McSherry was a large man, and you got to figure the grind of the season,
right?
And who knows what kind of habits people have, smoking, drinking, whatever. I'm not saying he did that, but I'm just saying, But I'll never forget that because it was the Reds game, and the Reds were traditionally the first pitch was the Cincinnati Reds. It's almost like a tradition in football where the Lions and Cowboys play on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That was the tradition in Major League Baseball was that the Reds had the first pitch. And I believe it was that day, that opening day, that John McSherry died of a heart attack on opening day.
Wow.
So I wanted to mention that one. And then one other one, there was an article by George Plimpton in Sports Illustrated in 1985 talking about a crazy prospect named Sid Finch.
Yeah.
And he supposedly threw 168 miles an hour. And he showed up at Mets camp after living in Nepal and Thailand and all this place. You could probably go back and read the article.
Yeah.
And supposedly the 168 miles an hour was a typo, but Sports Illustrated decided to leave it in just by hyperbole. But people actually fell for this. And Plimpton went on with this for a while. Like, he actually quoted some Mets players and stuff talking about him. Like, I mean, this is like a guy who was completely made up. And it caught like national attention in 1985. And, you know, it was a big deal. It was published in Sports Illustrated. I mean, back then, you know, there's no social media, there's none of that. So, I mean, he read publications like that, obviously, you know, and someone like, so, you know, a place like Sports Illustrated was widely respected, as they are now. But I mean, you know, if you read something from Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic, wouldn't you believe it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And George Plimpton in Sports Illustrated was the same thing back then. So you read something like that and you were like, wow, it's crazy. It sounds too good to be true, but you believed it. And sure enough, it caught fire and it was crazy, like publicity and stuff like that back then. So yeah, Hayden Finch, Siddhartha was his nickname.
Wow.
But yeah, it's crazy. If you get a chance to like check it out.
Oh yeah.
And stories about it and everything. It's kind of nuts, but it was pretty interesting. Because I remember back then, because I was 12 years old, playing the league and you know all that stuff. So I read anything and consumed anything baseball at that point. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I just mentioned those two, aside from obviously the ones that we talked about.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure they're like update. You know, I'm sure you'll be able to find it, and it's been searched enough today because it's 35-year anniversary and everything. But yeah.
But that'll do it for this day on April 1st, and we're looking to continue this day in histories for a while, and until we hopefully get a season back by hopefully June or something like that. And yeah, just hang in there. Continue to find stuff to do. You know, again, if you want to listen to other podcasts of ours, you can. We have a bunch of episodes out from season previews for teams, and even we have now up to like 70. I think we're up to 73 episodes now overall. So
nice.
Definitely have a lot to listen to. Go back to listen to some from last year and all that stuff. So yeah, we're gonna continue to get content out for this podcast and on the Squirrel. We're doing our what if articles. I have my Babe Ruth one. I'll be starting here soon. Starting to research on to figure out what direction I'm gonna go in for that. So yeah, definitely listen to all these podcasts on our podcast platforms. Follow us on the Squirrel. Follow myself at Alex Keeler on Twitter. Follow Johnny at jball0202. And also the YouTube, we have some videos. John Supowich has been doing his what's it called? Those videos. What the hell?
Yelling from the bench.
Oh yeah, yelling from the bench. Yeah, he's been doing a couple of those for every day. I mean, at least like once a week or something like that. So yeah, let's definitely get some content out. And we did the live video, like what was it, last week for the one game. So maybe we'll try to do some more of those as well. So just a reminder, you can never have too much pod tar. Okay. All right, let's jump into this. There's nothing really big happened last year, but 2018 is when Ohtani made his pitching debut, and he struck out 6, and in 6 innings, allowed 3 runs, and he was able to pick up his first big league win as the Angels beat the A's 7-4. So that was definitely a big debut, and now he's going to be back pitching this year again after Tommy John last year. So if we do end up having a season, which it's looking more and more grim that we won't, it's possible that we might not even have a season at all. So,
Yeah. It's horrible, man.
yeah. But anyway, then the next, back in 2013, Adam Ottavino made his debut, and he became the first big league pitcher to wear the number 0. And it was the fourth. He was the 4th overall player to wear it, because there was 3 other position players that wore number 0 before that. But first pitcher.
Yeah, I know one was Al Oliver.
Oh yeah.
He was actually a hitter
Yeah.
back in the 70s, 80s. I know he wore 0. His last name was Oliver. I think he's Junior Ortiz, who was a catcher for like the Pirates and stuff. I'm trying to think of who else.
And then it was
There
Adai McDowell.
Oh, Odabe McDowell.
Oh,
That's
Odabe-
right. He was a center fielder for the Texas Rangers in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember him. He was actually, it's funny with Odabe McDowell, because I remember him being touted as like this stud center fielder, and like this guy was going to be, the next whatever hyperbole you want to put on him, Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, and it just didn't work. I mean, he was a solid player, but he wasn't even close to that good. But
Mhm. Yeah, and there were other pitchers that wore 00, just not like just 10. There was Bobo Newsom, Curtis Liskanek, Rick White, and Brian Wilson.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I forgot Brian Wilson wore 00s.
that's right. Yeah, he's a strange dude.
Yeah.
But he started the whole beard thing, I think.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Big that year that he was, was it 2010? I think that he was,
Yeah.
the Giants made the run and they won the World Series. Like he was their closer. It was like Fear the Beard,
Oh yeah, that was weird.
like a big deal back then. Like now you see all these guys, Keuchel and like all these guys like sporting the big beards and stuff. But another interesting factoid that I noticed for 2013 was that Jackie Bradley Jr.
Hmm.
became the first major league player to wear junior on his jersey.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
Actually had the junior on it. I find that weird because it's like Griffey didn't.
Yeah.
It was just Griffey. Like, it was kind of odd.
Yeah. I wonder why that is.
Going kind of off of that too, I always found it interesting that Ichiro wore his first name on his jersey.
Right.
Like Ichiro, he wasn't Suzuki.
Yeah, nobody really called him by everybody just called him Ichiro.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he had on his jersey. Like, I just thought that was odd. Like, how many players would put their first name on their jersey? I mean,
Right.
could you imagine Trout running around with like Mike on the
Mike.
back? Kind of weird.
Yeah, that would be
But
weird.
then again, how many baseball players are known by their first name?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, makes sense.
Kind of be like if LeBron in basketball were just LeBron, because a lot of people just call him LeBron, not LeBron James or whatever. It's just like LeBron. And
Oh, yeah. I mean, LeBron could definitely do it.
yeah.
Get away with it, Giannis could probably get away with it too,
Oh, yeah.
because no one knows how to say his last name anyway.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And then there was another thing in 2013. Bryce Harper became the youngest player to homer on opening day at 20 years old. So that was interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think anybody else has done that since then, right? Yeah.
Not at 20, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The only other guys I could think of that were even that age on opening day would have been like Acuna, although Acuna didn't come up opening day
No.
because he was one of those guys that for the service time, I think he stayed in the minors for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Soto or Vlad Guerrero would be the only other two I could even think of that would be that age that could possibly hit a home run on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not many guys come up at 20 and are starting opening day.
No.
So